Hello, this is Mole Man in the morning. Good Mole Man to you.
Hello and welcome to Mole Man in the morning.
Oh, man.
Okay.
That was a low effort, Mole Man, to go with the
Ah.
conversation we had earlier that the audience won't get, but I find it horribly amusing.
We also can't afford the rest of the sentence these days.
Yeah.
That's how low effort it was.
Halfway through this podcast, we're just going to start talking in very, very short sentences, just like, nah, I don't really care anymore.
We are a podcast about how The Simpsons has a lot to say about society. I am your host, John. I am joined by two co-hosts, Matt
Yo, what's up?
and Michael.
The whole podcasterino.
We have got 2 episodes of The Simpsons for you today, as we always do. We are winding our way through season 4 currently. We are up to episodes 6 and 7. We're going to be looking at Itchy and Scratchy, the movie, which I'm desperately trying not to call Itchy and Scratchy and Marge, because I wrote that down in my notes, and when I was searching for it before we opened tabs for the podcast, I nearly typed it in again. I keep confusing the two.
Weirdly enough, every time there's an Itchy and Scratchy episode, for me, I go, haven't we done this before?
Deja vu.
Not half, man.
And then we've got Marge Gets a Job, which is an episode I didn't remember, but have been pleasantly surprised by.
I'll be honest, I was pleasantly surprised by both of these episodes because I wasn't really looking forward to them.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got to be honest, I don't think I've ever seen these episodes, so these were entirely new for me as the Simpsons newbie.
I 100% have seen the first one. I statistically have to assume I have seen the second one, but I don't remember.
Statistically,
I don't remember a thing about it.
by law,
all.
I have seen it.
I'm sure this will break the certain guest star in the second episode's heart. How memorable their cameo was.
My local boyo.
Hey-o.
Local now.
Yeah, local now. Anyway, before we start, we have some business to discuss. What are we drinking?
Yo, as always, I'm working through my Brew York collection still. I'm on Hop Sessions 009. Ba-da-ba. I have no idea what it tastes like. It smells great, though. I don't normally comment on the smell of my alcohol, but I opened it, and you know, like when cans, you get the little spritz, like a little spray can?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I did that, and I was like, hot damn, this smells great. It smells like apples.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, the Hop Sessions 9, I guess, was probably brewed after I left the company, because we're only up to 8 when I left, but they've always been pretty good.
It tastes okay, you know?
Okay.
It is the least, offensive beer I've ever tasted that has a unique taste.
Okay.
Because it's just kind of yep, that's beer kind of vibe.
What an endorsement this is.
It's alright, it's fine, you know, it's hoppy, and that's about it.
Cool.
Get that in the can.
I mean, it's Hop Sessions, it's in the name.
Yeah, it says it has, because Brew York has, the flavor profile on the back.
Oh, yeah.
It says it has a lot of fruit, and obviously, yeah, I did get that smell of apples, but there's no mention of apples in the brew, and it doesn't taste any way of apples. It just had that kind of, I guess it had more like a tree smell.
There is definitely no fruit in it. It's not a silly beer. It is a beer flavored beer, but it's made in such a way that you get the fruity aromas out of the hops.
Yeah, it's all right. Yeah, exactly. It's not annoyed me.
That's all we can hope for, really.
That's all the praise a beer can get.
Is it hasn't annoyed you? All right, Michael.
I have 2 drinks on the go.
Ooh.
I have a hot lemon tea.
You hurt your voice again?
No, it's just I'm cold and this is the best thing I've got to hand. That doesn't have caffeine in it.
Fair enough.
And on the other hand, I have a shot of Jameson's that I'm looking for.
And that's also because you're cold.
Yeah, but solving the same problem with very different solutions.
Yeah. All right, John, come on, play it on me.
I think this is the last silly beer I've got in my fridge from when I picked up lots of silly beers from working in a brewery that isn't completely insane and too insane to drink on a podcast. It's a Turning Point Brew Co. collab with Hive Mind Meadery, based in South Wales, now local boys, called Hexagon Architect. It's a rhubarb and honey pale.
Yo, that sounds fucking sick just because I love rhubarb. I bet it tastes like arse, but I love rhubarb, so I'm down.
I'm intrigued to see what this tastes like in a pail.
I'm not getting either of those things. It does
No,
not
I
taste
don't
like
think you would.
rhubarb or honey.
Well, that is
No.
incredibly disappointing.
It's thoroughly... Like, the beer itself is not remarkable either. It is just like, that's some liquid that's got some alcohol in it. Sure, that
Does it
exists.
smell good, though? What does it smell like?
Beer.
Beer? All right.
Faint
But-
hints of rhubarb, maybe, if I stretch.
Fun thing I saw on Blue Sky, and I shared it with John. I think I shared it on this Discord. Shout out to one of my longest followers throughout all of my like YouTube and Twitch and everything, Staboost, who bought John's beer.
Hey.
He bought a can, and he said he loved it. And he shared it on Blue Sky, and I thought, that's so cool. He's a big fan of the Arnold podcast, so hey, we were supposed to have a guest for the next episode of Arnie. Michael, do you want to come watch Commando with us?
Depends when.
Whenever.
Whenever we can make it work, you know.
Yeah. So, because I want to get back on with that, because Arnie's fun as well. But yeah, it's just really cool, you know, one of those cool moments. I didn't think we'd have it as one of our small little podcasts or whatever, but yeah.
Do I give him a shout out? What's his name?
Staboost.
Good on you, Staboost.
Steboost. Yeah, bought Michael's beer. Thought that was super cool.
Michael's
So
He
he
bought
beer.
John's
John's beer. Yeah, he just
He
went
bought-
and stole Michael's beer.
If he buys my beer, he's going to jail.
came in the night and just like, this is mine now.
Oh,
You
yeah.
don't want to know what's in those cans in the back of the fridge.
That's cool. Thanks for drinking. Glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, but yeah, I just thought it was really cool. I thought I'd mention that. That was really awesome.
See me on these. We can sell products. Done.
Exactly. Exactly. MeUndies, sponsor us. Give us our greasy little piglet pants, and I married a lesbian Bigfoot.
If we can sell 2 cans of beer, we can sell underwear. It's fine.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Alrighty, are we ready to look at Itchy and Scratchy the movie?
Yeah, I think this is the quickest intro we've done.
It
You
might
want to
be.
tell you what happened on this day?
You sound excited, so I'm guessing nothing.
No, something actually happened. No, something actually happened.
Oh, this is a big
Holy
day,
shit.
yeah. November 3rd, 1992. To be fair, they moved the episode to air on a different day to usual to coincide it with a major historic event because they thought it would improve ratings.
And of course, that historical major event is Dolly Parton released the cover of Whitney Houston's "I Will Always Love You."
And Rage
Yeah,
Against the
very.
Machine released their debut album.
Yeah, nothing happened in American politics.
There's some minor footnote there. I don't know if it's very relevant.
Some Carol Moseley Braun becomes the first African American woman in the U.S. Senate. That's probably not a big deal.
Nah. Stuff like that,
Um,
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter now, so why would it matter then?
And Dianna Feinstein was elected to the U.S. Senate to become the longest-serving female there. Well, yeah, again,
Nope.
not irrelevant.
Nah.
Also, some bum became president. A Bill Clinton.
Never heard of him.
I think it's pronounced Kleintone.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think he has a wife.
It's actually Beal.
Bill Kleintone.
Beal Kleintone. That sounds like someone's
Plus-
D&D name, man.
Oh, it can be.
Also, some very sad news of Jean Dacaladis, who they put down here as Belgian chocolate factory, dies at age 70. think they meant-
Chocolate Factory.
I think they meant to put
died.
He was
I think they meant-
a Belgian chocolate factory. That's incredible, man. What a
I
career.
think they might have missed. I think they might have missed out the word owner there. But if he was a genuine chocolate factory, R.I.P.
It's always
Yeah.
sad when we lose another chocolate factory, man. That's
No,
what I
that-
always say.
I didn't know chocolate factories could die.
Oh, it does raise really worrying questions about where chocolate comes from.
Oh no.
We know where lemonade comes from.
Well, do you like to know what the number one was in the US and the UK?
Go on then.
Oh,
Begins with a B.
Backstreet Boys?
No, folks, it's still Boys to Men.
Boys
End
to
of the
Men,
road.
man.
This is the soundtrack to the film Boomerang, which, because I was stunned that this was still number one, I actually looked up Boomerang.
don't know it.
Boomerang.
What is Boomerang?
So, it's a 1992 American romantic comedy film. It stars Eddie Murphy, a hotshot advertising executive who also happens to be an insatiable womanizer and male chauvinist.
That sounds like every film from the 90s back.
This is such a 90s film.
Mm.
When he meets his new boss, Jacqueline, Marcus, Eddie Murphy's character, discovers that she is essentially a female version of himself, and he realizes that he is receiving the same treatment that he delivers to others.
Do you know what I just realised? It seemed to be a thing in the 90s and 80s to do films of like comedy films of executives or like people that worked in offices in like positions of power getting into wacky scenarios, either being the foil or the hero or whatever, you know, because like we had Scrooged, Boomerang, Liar Liar, those kind of films. We don't really have those anymore, and I'm very curious why.
Because people can't become executives anymore.
This is very true. This is probably it, yeah, but I'm wondering if it's the ethos of like,
And no one works in the office anymore.
That's what we thought
Yeah,
success
everyone
was
works
back then.
Boomerang 2023. Eddie Murphy works from home.
It's just interesting. It's just a weird thing that I've just suddenly noticed. There are films still set of like in the office and stuff.
I'll tell you what.
You got Boss Baby. We're up to what, 4 now or something like that?
True. And a cartoon.
Boomerang has a hell of a cast, by the way. Halle Berry, Martin Lawrence, Grace Jones, Eartha Kitt, Chris Rock.
Has Halle Berry been in a good film?
She was in Die Another Day.
Has Halle Berry been in a good film?
I am the only person on the planet who liked Die Another Day.
Is that one of the Pierce Brosnan ones?
Yeah, it's the last piece.
Oh, I'm down then. Never mind. Yeah, sick. I love Pierce
You're-
Brosnan as Bond.
Are you forgetting Catwoman?
Has Halle Berry been in a good film? Actually, I tell a lie. She's in a new like sort of horror film that I want to see. I want to see it less than now that I know she's in it, but it does look really interesting. It's like this kind of post-apocalypse kind of, you have to stay tied to the house or things will get you. So that sounds fun. But anyway, Simpsons.
Yeah, I was gonna
Matt's
say-
had his usual derailment.
I was going to say, are we making a particularly concerted effort this week to not talk about it or what?
No. I was just curious as to how this song was still number one after so long.
Yeah, I don't think it's on number 1 for too much long. I did look it up a few weeks ago. We are going to get something else soon, I promise. But I can't remember when, so look forward to that.
I mean, it only matters if you're like some psychopath that's listening to each episode and also listening to the song that was number 1 at the time.
It's not the highlight of the episode, let's be honest.
No, exactly.
But yeah,
Simpsons.
I mean, I said this was they moved it to the date of the American election because they were like, oh, this will get us good ratings. We can be on election night, and it did not. They got worse
why
ratings
was
than usual.
people focused on, the massive major political event.
Yeah, they're normally like 13th, 14th in ratings overall for the week. I think if you sort of look at numbers on an episode by episode basis, which what sort of nerd would fucking do that? Who knows? They were 25th this week.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Well, that gamble didn't pay off.
Mhm.
This is probably why we get the blackboard gag of "I will not bury the new kid."
Do you know, this actually got me? I don't know why. I read it and was like, yeah, that's good.
Couch gag. The couch deflates.
Yeah, mildly amusing.
They're okay this season so far. They're
Yeah,
chuckle-worthy.
They're more creative than they have been, I think.
They
Oh,
elicit
no.
a sensible chuckle, and that's all you can ask for.
Couch gags are great when you think back on them nostalgically, but when you're actually like sort of reviewing them every other week, they lose a lot of their charm. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
It was fine. I chuckled.
Speaking of losing its charm, the episode begins with a parody of Star Trek, and we see that we cut to very old Captain Kirk. But as he's doing his Starlock, he's basically just going through all his ailments. He's not having a good time, is Paul Kirk.
I absolutely loved I complained that the ship was cold and drafty, but nobody listens. That got me, did that. That was so good.
So we're on Star Trek 12, so very tired. So we cut, and we cut to the deck again, and we see Mr. Sulu with his walking stick revealing that the Klingons are back. Kirk has had
These
another.
In with the Klingons.
Kirk asks Scotty for more power, but unfortunately, we see that
Cannot
Scotty
reach the
cannot reach.
controls.
I think the actor doing Mr. Scott was done slightly dirty there, even though he did gain a fair amount of weight, to be fair.
Yeah, apparently this whole bit was apparently riffing on the later Star Trek movies where the original cast were apparently showing their age a bit.
Yes, and I think Kirk and Sulu are still going, I believe.
Aren't they?
What do you
They're
mean?
not still
What do you mean
making
they're
Star
alive?
Trek, are they?
Yeah. I think everyone else is dead.
George Takei is still alive. William Shatner's still alive. Yeah, all the rest of all of them are dead. everyone that ever has thought of Star Trek is dead. We're all dead. This is purgatory.
They're dead, Jim, including me.
They're dead, Jim.
If you think of William Shatner, he will kill you.
I'm a doctor, not a podcaster.
Really?
If you're a Trekkie, that's a great joke.
Oh, yeah. Back to Simpsons. Grandpa is not impressed with the movie and is talking about how he's going to walk out of it before he immediately falls asleep.
Abe Simpson reminds me so much of my dad in this episode. My dad will do that. He'll be like, I don't even want to watch this. He'll stay on the couch and then just fall asleep.
Yes, my stepdad is guilty of the same thing.
Yeah.
Marge and Homer are going out to the kids' parent-teacher conference, and Homer reveals that they'll be bringing dinner back. Bart asks what that will be, and Homer
if you've done good, pizza. If you've done bad, poison.
As Bart then asks what happens if someone did good and someone did bad.
Lisa asks that.
Oh, Lisa asked that, and Bart's response is poison pizza.
Yeah.
Homer's response to this is he's not making two
I'm
trips.
not making two stops. I don't know why. I just really admired that. I was just like, yeah, just stick to your guns, man. You've done this.
We then see Homer and Marge in the car, and Homer's trying to pour Bart off onto Marge while he gets Lisa. And Marge wants to change this up, and Homer, to make it fair, asks Marge to tell him what number he's thinking of between 1 and 50. Marge immediately
Seems
guesses it correctly.
Yeah, 37.
Homer desperately pleads, and his whining eventually wins, and Marge concedes, and Homer starts blaring out USA in the car.
USA. This is so weird, though, because, for one, when I went to parents' evening, usually with my parents, it would be a parent so that the other one could stay home and look after the other child. Or just, they didn't want to go. I don't know. It was usually just one parent. But then I'd go see my individual teachers one by one. It just seems weird that it's all happening at the exact same time.
I suppose this is elementary school, so you're only being taught by one teacher.
It's also
Yeah, I
an
guess
American school system. They might just handle things a bit differently over there.
Yeah, that's what I'm curious about. Yeah, is if this is like typical of American schooling in elementary school.
We then see the Simpsons rock up, and we see the sign outside that says "Parent-Teacher Night. Let's share the blame."
Let's share the blame. That's good, man.
As the Simpsons walk in, groundskeeper Willie is very unhappy about this attendance.
Yeah, isn't it Smithers? Not Smithers. Skinner's and groundskeeper. They both kind of go, "Ugh," or something like that.
Willie is in full Scots regalia. He's got kilt and like sporran and sort of tartan everything. Like he's dressed up for this.
Any excuse, man.
Well, he's never done it before or since that I'm aware of, so it's not that much of an excuse.
Any excuse.
Homer, as he gets into the classroom, sees Lisa's slightly narrow desk and has to suck in his gut to an impressive degree to get into the seat.
The fucking creaking, man, that got me. He's like so pleased with himself, and the creaking is done in a way that is so sets it up for the desk exploding gag, but it doesn't. So you just kind of like it gives you this weird unfinished joke vibe, and then they come back to it later, and it just hits so well.
I mean, also a little bit relatable, because if you've ever been to anything that's in a school, you're like, oh, these tables are made for small people. These are not human-sized chairs. Oh,
sitting on the chairs, and you're just like, I'm gonna break this. I'm gonna break this. I'm gonna break this. I'm gonna break this.
This has to fit an adult now. This is not okay.
Yeah, and I'm not a big dude. I'm quite a scrawny dude. But when I've sat on like kids' chairs for like taking a nephew to school or whatever, and you sit down on it, and the plastic ones, you're like, the legs are bending outward, and I'm like, I do not know how anyone larger than me dares to sit in these chairs.
Well, the key may be reverting back to childhood, which Homer sort of does as Mrs. Hoover is writing on the chalkboard. He proceeds to make fart noises under his armpit, and Mrs. Hoover turns around shocked as Homer plays innocent while everyone is staring at him.
I always like how in media people seem to be able to do the armpit fart over their clothes.
Good talent. We then cut to Marge and Mrs. Krabappel, and Mrs. Krabappel is showing Marge Bart's arsonary, which includes a switchblade hidden in a crusty doll.
I would like to note she refers to Bart as being guilty of the following atrocities.
Yeah.
We don't learn that these atrocities include making a laxative from peas and carrots and placing birth control with Tic Tacs.
Yeah, sorry, can we go back to synthesizing a laxative? Like, Bart is incredibly smart. Like, I always forget that is kind of the whole point of Bart, is that he is actually quite clever. He's just not being engaged in the right way, and it's kind of like a very obvious allegory for ADHD.
Yeah.
You know, I think we've talked about this before, that I think Homer and Bart very clearly have like ADHD to like the extreme. But
Yeah. If you can synthesize a laxative from vegetables, I think he's smarter than Lisa.
yeah, just a tad. Yeah, and also him bringing in all these weapons. Bart is not a violent person, so it's like he's just bringing in these weapons to show that he can, which I just find very interesting. You know, to like he just wants to bring a weapon to show his friends. It's like, hey, look, I brought a weapon into school
Because
because
they're cool.
yeah, we've never seen Bart ever like deliberately physically attack someone yet. So, you know, like for fun. I think he's done it so far in the show, but he's not the school bully.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just really wild that he's just bringing these weapons into school, and I don't know. Yeah, it's I don't know if it's the joke falls flat for me because of that, because I'm like, yeah, but Bart doesn't use them, so it's just demonstrating. Oh, Bart's brought in weapons to school. Okay, I guess I don't know. Maybe I'm being super pernickety about a cartoon made in the 90s.
I think there's maybe an element of tension between how bad they want to portray Bart as being for narrative purposes and how bad they're actually prepared to portray Bart as literally being on TV on a show for kids.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's the thing as well, is that you can't just for the 1 millionth time say that Bart doesn't... Because this whole episode is about Bart misbehaving, not just, not doing his schoolwork. So all of Bart's, like, annoying negative properties are amped up to the 11th in this episode. So, yeah, there is that definite vibe of, like, okay, well, Bart's not actually that worse than a typical kid, so we need to think of how we're going to do that, and then this is what they've decided to do.
I raised you a scene of Marge apologising for Bart's behaviour and saying that Bart doesn't mean to be bad. Then Bart going to Bart saying,
now it's our chance to be bad.
Get to that in a second. We then cut to Homer being praised by Miss Hoover, asking but Miss Hoover saying, did you read to Lisa as a child? And Homer reveals that he did. We turns out in the flashback that he's just reading TV Guide, which I think he describes the plot to every single episode of Happy Days, in which is Fonzie may have been losing his cool.
I like the gag that it's just Happy Days on all the time. Nothing else is on daytime television.
Homer's now got the entire class in
Sorry, I just want to
rapture.
point out, like, this is me being, like, for one, I thought Lisa constantly, like, jiggling and wiggling was very cute. I thought that was very, like, the animators didn't need to bother with that. I thought that was cute. And also, she's a baby. Doesn't matter what you read to her.
There's kind of that. I did think that crossed my mind. I was like, at that stage, is like, I think, isn't it just more important? Not that I have a kid and know these things, but like, isn't it not more important that you just read? It really doesn't matter. The TV Guide would actually be fine, right?
Yeah, and that's the other thing, is like, Homer wouldn't normally bother, so well done, Homer.
Yeah.
Yes, Homer deserves his plaudits from the class as he gives out his 3 R's, which are reading TV Guide, writing to TV Guide, and renewing TV Guide. Marge is having less of a good time as a child is brought in to show on the door where Bart stuck the firecracker. We don't actually see where it is, but we can make a pretty good guess.
Yeah, they cut away for dramatic effect, which is quite effective, to be fair.
I didn't, like, so just as a random question, did the show me on the doll where he touched you thing occur before this?
I assume so, because I imagine that's what they're parodying with this, right?
Because that's a really off-color joke.
Oh, it really is, absolutely.
I've got to be honest. I mean, I don't know if it's just me being overly sensitive, but here, let's make a subtle reference to child sexual assault.
Mm-hmm. That is what that joke is, yep.
Weird thing to do, Simpsons. Weird thing to do. Genuine. There's another joke, I think it's in the next episode, that again was just kind of really weirdly uncomfortable, but we'll see.
Okay.
We can cut to the lighter-hearted scene of Bart pretty much taking Grandpa's teeth out of his mouth.
Yep.
And then immediately sticking them into his own.
Yep.
I agree with Lisa's EU at that moment, but she's quickly won over by Bart's grinning face. Maggie, not so much, as Maggie flees him. We then cut back to the school, and Homer is being given my child is on the honour roll at Springfield Elementary. Homer's quite tearful about this, as he thinks it's finally got a bumper sticker to replace his "Where's the beef" before he amuses himself with the "Where's the beef" line.
Giggling at "Where's the beef." This is something that completely passes over English culture, because we never had "Where's the beef."
Yeah.
It was an
I'm
advert,
aware
right?
of it, but yeah.
I think, yeah, it was.
I think it
something
was, yeah, it
along
was
those
just like literally the beef board or whatever, whoever controls beef, decided to advertise beef, and it was quite a famous beef advertising campaign, I think, right?
What? So it's on the same level of Got Milk?
Yes, literally that, yeah.
Amazing.
That is my understanding, anyway.
I believe it may have been used in like a political sense as somebody, when they were having like a political debate, asked somebody, I was trying to like.
Yeah,
find
wasn't it
some evidence.
Reagan? Didn't we
Where's
have this
the beef?
conversation?
Oh, I've just googled it. No, it was an advert for Wendy's.
Ah.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah, where's the beef? Because they were saying, like, we're using 100% beef or something like that. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, they were dunking on McDonald's and Burger King for
And then I
not
think
using
it
proper
was-
beef. Yeah,
Again, I think it was Reagan that used it as, like,
Yeah, it
he's a
it
good,
has the
basically saying
political
he's a
meaning.
good politician kind of thing. I think it was Reagan, might not have been.
apparently it has become an all-purpose phrase questioning the substance of an idea, event, or product.
Good to know.
Hold on, we're doing our first Google.
They did,
you
in
may remember
fact,
the
make "Where's the Beef"
1984
bumper stickers, though. That was the thing that existed.
Walter Mondale.
Ah, okay.
Walter Mondale used this slogan to ridicule his rival for the Democratic Party's presidential election candidate.
See, nothing ever changes. As Homer's about to walk away with his new honor roll sticker, Super stops him to tell him that they need the desk back.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's the payoff. I
Yep,
thought it was great.
At home, we see that some classical music has been put onto the stereo, and
playing
Bart
the
is now-
saber dance. It's not classical music.
Yeah, it's classic.
Okay.
We don't see that Bart is now using Grandpa Steve to hang off the extractor fan up at the top of the ceiling.
Just a
fan.
ceiling fan, yeah.
Yeah.
Bart doesn't have the jaw grip for this, unfortunately.
Yeah, the
and,
noise, man. That proper slorping noise.
and eventually he falls off. We go back to Marge, and Marge is being forced to write lines of "I will try to raise a better child." And as Marge questions how this benefits Bart, Krabappel tells him to just keep on doing it.
Yep.
And we see that Homer comes in, and he's very happy about how his evening's gone. And as Marge tries to bring Homer the severity of the problem, Homer is not having any slander against Lisa until he's told it's about Bart. And Homer's response to this is just, "Oh, that guy." We then see Mrs. Krabappel give her theory that Bart's lack of discipline is the cause of his behavioural problems. And Marge basically confirms this by saying Bart has a way of tricking them into thinking they've already punished him. Homer's response is, he's the boy you love to hate. But Mrs. Krabappel continues her thing and advises that if Bart does get the proper discipline, he can come on to be anything he wants, including the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court.
This is weird. Like they make a lot of hay out of this across the episode. They keep coming back to, oh, he could be Chief Justice, Chief Justice, Chief. I don't know why they're so big on the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. Like there's just a weird hang up there.
As Homer starts naming off Chief Justices, including Warren Burger.
Yeah,
I thought the joke was that those were the people on the wall behind him, and he was just reading off them. But no, then they just go with a weird burger joke.
yeah. I think I saw somewhere like apparently somebody at least thought there was maybe an attempt at humor in that Homer is just weirdly well versed in Chief Justices.
Maybe.
I didn't particularly pick up on that myself, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, he just latched onto it.
As Marge asks her what'll happen if they don't discipline him, she's left forced to imagine the alternative, which is Bart is just a male stripper.
And
Yeah,
not a
that's
very
bit
good
weird.
one.
Marge's fantasy is being ridiculed for being fat, but Bang Bang Bart's response is there's just a bit more
Just
for him
more
to
me
work,
love, baby.
until he gets hit with the whiskey bottle and is on the ground. Marge's response to this is, "Oh, my poor baby." We then cut back to Bart, and Bart is taking bites out of vinyl records for reasons.
Yeah,
To-
man.
to play
Like I
with the
said,
teeth?
they really upped the whole Bart being a piece of shit this
Yeah.
episode.
Bart hears the car coming in, and Bart, in shock, spits out the teeth and breaks them. Fortunately, Bart is industrious enough to gets out some sellotape and tape the teeth back together before throwing them into Grandpa's mouth just in time.
Yeah, and also has like apparently pneumatic jaws that he can launch feckin' dentures that far.
As Grandpa is struggling with the tape in his mouth, Homer informs him that they'll put him into a home if he doesn't start making sense.
You already put me in a home.
Homer's response to that is that they'll put him in the crooked home they saw in 60 minutes, and this is enough to get Grandpa to go, "I'll be good."
Yeah, poor
Yeah.
Grandpa Simpson, man.
Yeah. We also had Bart reading the Bible when they came in. He's like, boy, time really flies when you're reading The Bible, which
Ew.
I quite like because he was holding it upside down, which is exactly the same way Donald Trump reads the Bible.
I don't think Donald Trump even reads the Bible.
There was a famous photo a
Whoa.
few years back where he was posing with a picture of Bible, but he was holding it upside down.
That's fucking
Bless
epic, man. Genuinely, the fact that... Nah, I'm not going to get into it.
You then see Grandpa in the kitchen complaining about Bart breaking his teeth, and Homer writes this off as one of Grandpa's crazy stories, including he thinks the nurses are stealing his money and that thing on his neck is getting bigger.
Oh, God, yeah. Homer just being so dismissive. Just, oh, what was the phrase? But he's just like, the nurses are stealing from me. This thing on my neck is getting bigger. I'm like, Jesus, man, that's your dad.
Mm.
As we see Marge encouraging Homer to punish him, but Homer doesn't want to because Bart is looking so downcast.
Yeah,
and,
he's clearly learned his lesson.
Yeah.
Eventually, Marge implores Homer to punish him because she doesn't want to be the bad guy, and Homer finally agrees. His solution and punishment suggestion is that Grandpa gets to break Bart's teeth.
Oh, this is going to be good.
Grandpa was very into the thought of it before Marge puts a stop to it.
Abe Simpson's a fucking psycho.
But the actual punishment is that Bart is going to be sent upstairs without his dinner, and Bart is quite cocky about the whole thing, believing he'll be eating that pizza in 5 minutes.
How
Marge
often did you guys get, like, was that a punishment when you were young? Because it was for me. Yeah, I got sent up with, like, no dinner, not just no pudding, but yeah, if I'd been really bad, they'd be like, no dinner, just go upstairs. I'm like, oh, Jesus. And then I'd feel, yeah, and I'd be hungry.
I don't recall that ever happening to me.
No?
I
No.
recall not getting dessert a couple of times, but I don't
Yeah.
recall never being starved entirely of food.
Well, you got to eat the next day. And just, I don't know.
Bart falls apart very quickly without his food as he set up a whole table and
Yeah.
dining banquet thing as he's calling for his pizza. This is enough to convince Homer to run up the stairs,
I'm
like
coming, boy.
before he's summoned back down. Bart quickly goes insane without his pizza and starts to imagine the dog as food. But
Yep.
the dog manages to get away from it. It seems that the punishment has worked, and Bart is on his bed looking quite forlorn, saying he's going to straighten his act out. Unfortunately, at that very moment, Homer comes in with pizza and gives it to Bart after getting him to promise that he'll be good. And as Homer leaves, Bart calls him a sucker.
Yeah.
We also get a lovely little scene of Grandpa trying to steal Jasper's teeth before Jasper pulls a gun on him and sarcastically comments, "Well, if it isn't
Yeah,
the Tooth Fairy."
Like a 10-second top scene that just felt a little bit shoehorned in, but it's just like somebody wrote a gag and we're like, we have to get this in here, yeah.
Gotta get Jasper in the episode.
Well, if it isn't the Tooth Fairy.
We then cut back to an advert on the television, and it's for Itchy and Scratchy the movie, which is just,
Wow.
it's basically just Scratchy being tortured, which includes getting a flamethrower through the ears and the top of his head shaved and poked in the eyes.
Yeah, did you know? Itchy and Scratchy makes me uncomfortable, guys. I've got to be honest. I think
Yep.
it's even the thought of this kind of thing being okay to show to children now, as they're getting older, I'm just a bit like,
Yeah, we'll get into the movie later when they actually show the movie, but I gather quite a lot of Itchy and Scratchy was cut from this because your favourite writer and mine, John Swartzwelder, apparently wrote a lot of incredibly fucked up shit for this, and they were like, no, we can't use this.
Yeah, I bet, man. Like, the fact that any Itchy and Scratchy makes it into The Simpsons in 1992 and 3 and beyond is wild to me.
We'll get into the scenes later, but I do recall when I first watched this on Sky, a lot of this being edited out.
Hmm.
Well, it wasn't on Disney Plus. That's where I watch it, so you'd think there'd be
Yeah,
edited versions on there.
we'll get there. Well, meanwhile, he's melting a James Bond figure in the microwave.
Yep.
He's having a good time before he's summoned back in for the announcement for Itchy and Scratchy.
He's stroking Snowball like a villain as well, which is cute.
Yeah. Things are starting to cook.
Very clever.
Well, it was, just a nod to the animators here as well. It was clever that the best way they had to show James Bond melting was to remove line work. You'll notice there was no thick black lines between any, like, separating
Oh.
features, so all the
Yeah.
colours blend together, and it's really clever how that works, to immediately give you the sense of this thing is melting.
Yeah, nice. Good detail. Hmm.
Yeah.
Homer comes into the room and asks Bart if he's taking out the garbage, and Bart declares that he has. Homer then goes into the kitchen and sees that there's mountain goats eating all the trash.
Yeah,
What?
Again, I think it's a gag that someone wanted to put in there.
Homer comes back into the room to punish Bart, but Bart uses reverse psychology on him to say that he could punish him, but he'd have to think of a punishment and then enforce it. But Homer is quite distraught at this possibility until Bart suggests instead he goes and plays with Milhouse, and Homer just watches Mexican soap operas. And our example of this is just Bumblebee Man having a stomachache.
This is the first time we see him.
This is the first appearance of Pedro Chespirito, aka Bumblebee Man.
Wait, he has a name?
He does. It's Pedro Chespirito. And his quote on fucking the Simpsons fandom wiki is "Ay ay ay."
It's kind of his catchphrase.
I think
that
it's
is his
like one of the
catchphrase.
only things he says, basically.
He has other lines, but not many. Yeah.
There's a whole episode where he becomes British.
But he is, if you weren't aware, a parody or caricature of an actual thing. There's El
Yeah,
General
this
in
was
Colorado, the red
Yeah, it's an actual
grasshopper,
thing.
which is a character on Mexican television. And if you look that up on Wikipedia, it's astonishing how similar it is. It really is.
I think it's a direct rip-off, if we're being brutally honest. And we're back to the episode, and we see that a billboard's been put up for Itchy and Scratchy, which is basically Itchy hitting Scratchy with an axe, complete with its own little blood splatter, which unfortunately falls into a just married newlywed's car.
That is a high-effort billboard.
Yeah, man.
But it works because they're quite charmed with it, despite the fact they're being covered in fake blood.
I don't think we ever really got like crazy billboards over in the UK.
Nothing
Compared
with
to-
moving parts like that, no.
Yeah, like the Americans seem to go ham with billboards, and now billboards are all really boring because they're all the bloody they're all just massive fucking TV screens.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which, you know, I don't mean to be like a fucking boring socialist here, but that can't be good for the environment.
It's probably not great.
What a waste of fucking electricity. Do you know?
I tell you what is a waste.
No,
Mustard being smashed on the carpet.
before you go on, I'm gonna get on my little fucking soapbox here, because I want to bring this up because I learnt this and it's fucked up. Okay, so fast food places are spending more on their budget on advertising than anything else at this point. The guy, one celebrity rapper that was in an ad campaign for McDonald's got paid more money than the CEO of McDonald's gets paid in a year. He got paid for one ad. That is a huge waste of fucking money. I do not care who advertises KFC. I care that it's KFC.
But would you care if it was KFC, whether it had a rapper? Yeah, no. But
I
yeah,
notoriously dislike rap, so...
But there are other people who do not and will be like, hey, that's the guy I like. And now they're thinking about KFC. And
Yeah,
want a
but
KFC.
if you're swayed at what fast food restaurant to eat, not by the fucking taste...
I don't think anybody is swayed by any fast food restaurant explicitly. I think it's one of those things where they just make sure that you're thinking about them multiple times a day by making themselves omnipresent and always knowing. It's like, hey, don't forget, we're here. Hey, McDonald's, we're here. Look, McDonald's. Are you thinking about McDonald's yet? If you weren't thinking about McDonald's, think about McDonald's again. Just don't forget about it.
Loads
I'm on
of those...
Just Eat right now. Thank you very much.
And speaking of which, don't forget to think about MeUndies.
MeUndies, yes, MeUndies. I'm a greasy little piglet. But loads of like low-cost restaurants are now seeing massive surges in profit because of how much more fast food costs. So people are just like, we might as well just go to a fucking restaurant. Anyway,
That's not a bad
Simpsons.
And what you can get at that restaurant is mustard.
There we go.
I am
Segue
getting my
last.
segue.
Nailed
damn
it. Meow.
Speaking of nailed, Bart uses that hammer to destroy those mustard packages on
Was
the
that a
carpet.
double segue?
Meow. Meow.
Selma asks Bart what he's doing, and Bart's response is just, I don't know.
Yeah, it's,
Homer's not falling for the reverse psychology trick this time, but unfortunately the ice cream van has shown up, and Homer goes to Native American ice cream,
oh,
which was
what?
formerly
Why?
which was formerly called Big Crazy Chief's ice cream, I think it was.
Something like that, yeah.
So okay, someone got some political correctness joke in there.
It's again,
It's
fucking Schwartzwelder, so he's having a jab at political correctness gone mad.
Which is also highlighted in the next scene as Homer asks Bart what they were talking about, and Bart fobs Homer off by saying he was telling about the time he got out of jury duty. Homer's response to this is that the trick is that you're prejudiced against all races.
Again, yeah, I love those little bits of random ass political humor. Very subtle, the really subtle ones, not the ones like the fucking crazy chief's ice cream. That's stupid. But yeah, Homer just being like, clever way to get out of jury duty. It's good.
I got called up to do jury duty in the middle of the height of the pandemic, and I got out of it. My excuse for getting out of it was I started questioning whether their COVID precautions were stringent enough, and they were just like, "Yeah, we don't want you."
Yeah, get that hell out.
Because this was a point where it's like, I'm not just going to walk into a room with a bunch of random strangers and hang around with them for like days on end. There's a pandemic, guys.
Yeah.
And they're like, it's okay, we'll get someone else.
They'll remember that next time they call you up. We then see that Bart is ripping up the carpet as Homer's just sitting there. And as Marge comes in and asks Bart what he's doing, and no one can offer a great response, Homer tries to send Bart to his room, and Bart just walks out the front door.
Yeah.
And there's another talk about discipline, and Homer eventually declares that he will actually punish Bart next time he does something wrong. This is the whole point of the episode coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Incoming, the plot.
12 minutes in, yes.
Well, I mean, the plot has been,
It's a slow burn.
I feel like we're
it's
in the plot. We're just not in the what would you call it? The inciting incident.
Yeah, there's been a hell of a setup.
Yeah, we're sort of. Yeah, I think it sort of really kicks off in the third act, but yeah, it's taken a while to get here.
We're back onto Ion Springfield, and the feature article is a man that's been hiccuping for 45 years. So we cut to this poor bastard, and it's just kill me.
I agree with that sentiment.
There are people like that, or at least a guy that I'm aware of, which like you gotta imagine that kind of probably is how you feel by that point. Yeah,
there are multiple people in the world that cannot stop orgasming.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a different. Okay.
There was an interview.
You need plenty of MeUndies for that.
Yeah, there's a documentary about like strange conditions, and one of them was about this guy, and they interview him. And he says, look, it sounds great, but I cannot do anything. Because he can't go out in public.
Yeah.
He can't go to the shop.
Mm-hmm.
So his life is just awful. He can't have a job.
His house must smell very salty.
Oh.
As a line being crossed there.
Possibly. As regards the hiccup thing, like I did see some discussion of it on Twitter, so make of this however accurate it might be, but the discussion noted that like the human brain like has to effectively kind of make an effort to stop hiccuping. Like the default state of the human existence is hiccuping, and like the brain has to stop it, and like the way you get this is through a brain injury, and you break the bit of your brain that stops you hiccuping, so you're just hiccuping forever.
That's bananas.
The human body is ridiculous.
I don't like what you've just told me.
I know. It's well now well I have to curse you with the burden of knowledge. I know it, so someone else has to.
But now I'm thinking of my brain now stopping me from hiccuping, which means I'm probably going to start hiccuping in about 10 seconds.
Enjoy the rest of the episode, folks.
Oh, I feel repressed. I feel repressed like a Korean animator. Which is where Ken Brockman is.
This was a thing, like, they use a Korean animation studio. Why would they do this?
So apparently we now know that Simpsons is made at gunpoint.
Yeah, like, I mean, I gather the Korean animation studio who had to animate a Korean animation studio being run at gunpoint were not happy about having to animate a Korean animation studio being held at gunpoint. Somehow it did happen anyway, but they did not care for it.
Yeah, I'm not surprised, man. It's a weird joke. I did laugh. It's a funny joke. But yeah, I didn't know that part. I genuinely thought Simpsons was animated in the West. So
yeah, the director at Rough Draft Korea felt insulted and nearly sent the scene back.
Yeah, I fucking would have, man. I
think most American animation is animated in Korea, I believe.
There's quite a bit.
One of the shows that really popularized doing it was the animated series of Batman. It was the first American like kids cartoon that was animated in Japan, like as an anime. So it really popularized that idea because just how much higher quality is than cartoons at the time, like fucking Scooby Doo.
You leave Scooby-Doo alone.
Hey, I love Scooby-Doo. I love all Hanna-Barbera shows. I don't think they're animated well.
You're telling me that the Harlem Globetrotters isn't the peak of animation?
Well, it might be if they had more than 2 frames an hour.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, I'll tell you what is the peak of animation as Ken Brockman goes into the history of Itchy and Scratchy. The first cartoon featuring Scratchy, which is just Scratchy walking down the street, quite jovial.
Yeah, so is Itchy and Scratchy just an allegory for all cartoons, not just Tom and Jerry? Because like I said, I don't think I'd ever seen this one, so I'd never seen Itchy and Scratchy being used to make very obvious Disney jokes.
I think this is the first point where they've thought about it at all. I mean, I guess it up to now has been kind of a send-up specifically of Tom and Jerry, yeah, but here they're trying to give it some lore now.
I mean, Steamboat Itchy was basically just Steamboat Willie.
Literally, yeah, just Steamboat
Willie.
Willie.
Yeah, like the animators referred to it as Steamboat Lawsuit.
I don't think Steamboat Willie had the main character's kneecaps shot up with a Tommy gun before.
David Silverman explained that he did not know why they weren't sued because there's a shot straight out of Steamboat Willie in the episode. Yeah, it literally is, barring kneecaps and whatnot.
I do recall Sky did not show the bit where the head went into the oven. I do recall them editing that out. Yeah.
And interestingly, it's now public domain. You can do this, and it's legal to do this if you want.
Yeah, that's why there's the one of the new horror films came out, because there's already like 3 being made. And so yeah, I've seen like multiple reviewers just be like, this is genuinely offensive as a film enjoyer. Which I thought, yeah, that makes sense. I was like marginally interested in the Winnie the Pooh one until I found out there is just a pointless rape scene in it. I thought, yeah, this isn't the kind of horror film I'm into.
Yeah. We then cut to a wartime Itchy and Scratchy, which is just them beating the hell out of Hitler until everyone gets their head chopped off and FDR runs in to kick everyone in the arse. Which
I guess is kind of like a Disney and also a Looney Tunes joke, because both Disney and Looney Tunes did those kind of gags.
Oh, some of the Disney war propaganda films are.
Yeah, the art style they use for this particular animation, though, is more Tom and Jerry in nature, so they are like quite more,
the visuals,
a bit more directly, visually riffing on Tom and Jerry at this point.
I know there's a Red Baron kind of episode of Tom and Jerry, but it's just them in planes, and obviously Tom is in a like Red Baron kind of plane. I don't remember, because I've watched a lot of Tom and Jerry. I don't recall in the original episodes them ever doing anything propagandary. I think it was a bit late for that.
Mm-hmm.
It's more Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck.
Yeah, because those things were around for ages. Because Tom and Jerry is Hanna-Barbera. So Tom and Jerry was 52? I mean, I know that's still past World War II, so we're fine.
It's only recently post-war, though, yeah.
Yeah, so, so the Red Baron joke would still land. But yeah, that blows my mind. The original work, Puss Gets the Boot, was 1940. Oh yeah, I remember this episode because it has such a unique art style compared to the rest of the show. Anyway. But guys, can we all just say, like, Tom and Jerry was sick?
Oh yeah, it was great.
Tom and Jerry is like one of my favorite classic cartoons. I love that show. I don't think it actually is. Oh no, it is Hanna-Barbera. Yeah, there it is. Created by William Hanna and Joseph Barbera.
Oh, there you go.
Simpsons.
Elmer comes into the room and asks Bart if he's watching Maggie, as he asked, and Bart turns out to realise that Maggie is gone.
Yeah, because really subtly during the scene, Maggie leaves. Like, they don't make a big deal out of it. She just leaves. And you just kind of think, yeah, Maggie's disturbed by what's on TV, so she leaves. You think that's the gag.
I didn't even spot that happen.
No, Maggie's off to do some Grand Theft Auto and is driving down the street in on this car.
Yep.
We then get some great scenes of Maggie driving past Marge as Marge is horrified. She also drives past Chief Wiggum, who notes that a baby is driving a car, and a dog is also driving a
bus.
He just thinks it's cute. Isn't that cute? A baby driving a car.
That dude's delivery, man, is just perfect.
We also see Maggie cut off another driver, and they start making threatening gestures to each other.
Yeah, Maggie's doing the it's like the Italian one, because it's a specific. I don't think it's Italian sign language, but it is like an Italian insult, isn't it? The neck thing, like the hand to the neck.
I don't know what the gesture is, but yeah.
No.
This ultimately all ends with Maggie crashing into the prison and the airbag deploying to form a pillow. As all the prisoners walk out, declaring they're going to be on a crime spree.
Oh, yes. Time for a crime spree.
A surprisingly lightly fortified prison. Like, there's one layer of bricks between prisoners and the world, and that is it.
I mean, it is America. Also, I just want to point out, no matter how religious you are and how, like, put together you are, there is no way even Marge Simpson wouldn't see her own baby daughter driving a car by her and not just say, holy fucking shit. Because what she
do
just
anything
says, like,
about
oh my.
it. She's oh my lord. Is
Yeah,
the
Why doesn't
line.
even like turn the car around to follow?
No, she doesn't. Yeah, I didn't even think of that. I was too busy thinking about the fact that she doesn't just say, holy fucking balls. That's my baby driving a car. How does Maggie press the pedals, though?
Good question.
Yeah, fine question, yep.
Maggie, like Marge, is actually a mutant and has stupidly long legs. Like, Marge has the bunny ears. Maggie actually has, like, spider legs.
Well, Homer's car was actually built by Elon Musk, and the accelerator pedal jams on the moment you press it.
No.
I would like to request John to always find a way to jab Elon Musk during the
Oh, well, I'll do it. I'll do it.
I know. That's why I want it.
This is the end of our Twitter presence.
What a pointless individual.
And cut back to
Simpsons.
the punishment scene, and Homer has finally had enough of Bart's hijinks. And Homer's declaration of punishment is that Bart can never see the Itchy and Scratchy movie.
Ever.
He emphasizes this by tearing up the ticket that Bart has. At the same time, we see Snake running past the window with a VCR in his arm before he realizes it's a Betamax.
Oh no, Beta. My dad had a Betamax. Just random facts. He was really proud of it, and he was also very annoyed when VHS won the video wars.
Well, DVD won in the long run, so...
Well, because Betamax was better. Like, that's the weird thing that blows my mind. I've never really, like, looked into the specifics, but of, like, why VHS won, but Betamax just was better. It's so strange to me.
Probably something to do with affordability, is my guess.
Affordability and advertising, probably, but yeah, Betamax had higher storage and was smaller. It's just weird.
Yeah, history is strange.
History is strange.
Sure is.
But instead of being punished with not watching the Itchy and Scratchy movie, he pulls down his pants and asks to be spanked. But Homer is not having this.
I don't like how you worded that, Michael.
I think most people
he presents it as an alternate punishment. He doesn't just go, spank me, daddy.
I never said Bart does that. You're creating your own
worse
fan fiction. But Lisa tries to come to Bart's defense and tells Homer how he would have felt if he'd missed the moon landing. We then get the flashback to that moment, and we see Grandpa is in tears watching it while Homer is just listening to "Yummy, yummy, yummy, I've got love in my tummy."
Do we have a moon landing moment as our generation, as millennials?
9/11.
That's not a moon landing moment, but I knew you were going to say that.
It's a defining generational thing, though,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
No, I get you.
You knew where you were when you found out about it. That kind of deal.
Yeah. Anyway, Simpsons.
The thing is, nothing good has happened in our lifetimes. This is the problem.
This is kind of true.
We then see that Homer is not going to change his mind on the punishment, and opening day comes, and the line is literally round the block.
Over
It's round the town.
and it's over a what? Like what are they called? Like the
A drawbridge.
drawbridge, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I
Which one,
regret
man?
nothing.
The line pretty much stops outside the Simpsons house just to torture Bart.
Yeah.
And we see that Homer says that Bart will thank him for this one day, and Bart's response to this is not bloody likely. And then we see that Homer starts going into a story about how he wanted a catcher's mitt as a lad and Grandpa wouldn't buy it for him, so Homer held his breath until he passed out and banged his head off the coffee table and suffered brain damage. And Bart wonders where this story is going. Homer just says he likes the stories.
This does drag on surprisingly long for a mild chuckle at the end. That definitely gets reused in a clip show later as well.
I like stories. It's not. That's not a mild chuckle, man. That got me. That got me. I like stories.
Homer suggests Bart can just watch TV, and Bart declares that TV sucks, and Homer rather aggressively tells him that he's going to let that slide because he knows Bart's upset.
It's fair.
We then see we see Bart struggling to get into the TV, and he decides that he doesn't
Yo,
need the
I
movie.
want to, but you buried the lead. He's watching how they make mailboxes. Yo, I want to watch how a professional woodcarver makes mailboxes. That sounds
Yeah,
dope.
no kidding. Yeah.
Am I just 30? Is that it? I've just become. I became 31 recently, and now all I want to do is watch fucking carving videos.
Yep.
Yep.
Welcome to middle age. Yep.
I hate it.
I occasionally watch rugs being cleaned. I don't know why.
Oh, wow.
I love restoration videos. Yeah, just people just fixing up shit. That's great.
It's dope, innit, though? It's so cool. They, like, take it apart and they wash the individual pieces in, like, all the different solutions. And they're like,
Yeah.
well, I have to hand clean this because it's too delicate. And you're like, oh, my God, what if he messes it up? And you're like, well, he wouldn't have published it if he was messing it up.
And then there's a bit that's damaged beyond repair, so he has to craft a new one from scratch.
Yeah, and you're just like, holy crap, I didn't think he was going to craft anything. And he pulls out his entire toolkit, and you're just like, wow, this looks better than the original.
Anyway,
Well,
Simpsons.
Bart decides that he doesn't need the movie. He can just imagine a better episode of Itchy and Scratchy. We then cut to the thought bubble inside the head of Itchy and Scratchy, just literally standing there waiting for some direction before they both just shrug.
Yep.
We then see Lisa come in and Bart asks her how the movie was, and Lisa tries to downplay it, but eventually Lisa does declare that it's the best movie she's ever seen, then goes on to mention the cameos of Dustin Hoffman and Michael Jackson, and they didn't say it was them, but you could tell.
This is Lisa not yet knowing that there's celebrity impersonators out there.
I noted that this was a joke that was completely lost on kids and also probably anyone who's not making a Simpsons podcast.
Yeah, I got it.
Dustin Hoffman, Michael Jackson, who didn't use their real names. Get it,
duh.
guys?
Yeah,
Okay.
that went over my head because I have a memory of a fucking slice of jelly.
We then cut to Bart reading the Itchy and Scratchy, the movie, the novel.
Yep.
But it isn't quite the same, so Bart drops it into the bin and it completely crushes the trash.
I
That's
never
the
got
visual
why they do that, why the people make novelizations of movies. Bit
funny, I
weird.
guess.
However, I gather they're just to completely derail things at the past 1 hour mark, which Michael's hating. There's a novelization of Back to the Future, which is based on an incredibly early script and is nothing like the movie, and it's great.
I understand that.
Yeah, the original fuel for the DeLorean was Coca-Cola or Pepsi, one of the two. Genuinely.
I'm guessing there was a
And
sponsorship issue.
the reason why Marty McFly is friends with Doc Brown is because Doc Brown needed someone to sell bootleg VHSs in order to fund building a time machine. But that never made it into the film.
It's very specific.
It's all true.
Anyway, Simpsons.
Milhouse declares he's seen the film 13 times and Nelson has seen it 17. Bart says they must be sick of the movie, and they declare that anyone that's not seen the film would, only someone that hasn't seen the film would say that. So Bart gets chased down.
Let's get him.
We then cut to Homer, who's still watching the TV as Marge and Lisa try to interrupt him, and Homer declares that watching TV puts them in a bind, so he can't listen to them. Marge and Lisa tried to plead Bart's case, and Lisa's exact words are, he has the demented melancholy of a Tennessee Williams heroine. And Homer's response to this is, don't you think I know that?
My note was, oh, you mean like Blanche Dubois from the episode 4 episodes ago? 4 episodes ago. Streetcar Named Desire. It was Tennessee Williams.
Or a streetcar named Marge, if you remember the episode.
All right, guys, you both win. You both love Simpsons. It's okay. It's okay. I don't like it when Mummy and Daddy fight.
We're not fighting, we're just having a frank discussion of words.
Oh, no. That was too good.
Anyway, we go back to the now slightly quieter cinema, and Bart tries to sneak in, but his picture's unfortunately on the wall. And the cinema ticket guy pretty much declares that they promised his dad that they wouldn't, and Bart walks away forlorn into the
That
into
kid's
the
like a
distance.
teenager. There's no way he gives a shit. He'd just be like, yeah, all right, cool, go
It
on.
also does at least explain why Bart didn't just go back and buy another ticket at some point, at least.
Yeah.
We see that 8 months has passed, and the Itchy and Scratchy billboard has now been changed into the Springfield Barber College.
8 months? Do films last at the cinema for 8 months straight?
No.
No.
I wrote down, no film is in the cinema for 2 months. And then immediately they make the gag about 8 months, and I was like, holy shit.
He also won 9 Academy Awards, according to Ken Brockman.
9
And
Academy Awards.
Ken Brockman then declares that the new movie featuring Mickey Rourke and Liza Minnelli will come out the same day. Will it do better than Itchy and Scratchy? My guess is probably no.
Yeah, considering he stood in a completely empty theatre.
But Bart then declares that Homer has won, but Homer says that Bart has actually won because he's put him down on the path to something that he's not expecting. I think I phrased that horrendously.
On the road to somewhere very special was the word.
You missed a joke that I wanted to comment on because I was making a series of jokes. At one point when Homer is defending his decision to keep the punishment, he says that the only thing Bart is going to be able to judge if he goes to see the film is a Mr. Tight Buns competition. And then I was going to say, yo, I want to judge a Mr. Tight Buns competition. Because, like, come on, John, do you want to be a judge at a Mr. Tight Buns competition?
I'll do that.
Michael, do you want to be a judge at a Mr. Tight Buns competition?
Oh, why not?
Yeah, exactly. See, everyone wants to be a judge at a Mr. Tight Buns competition. If I could do that, I'd rather do that than be fucking, what is it, Super Supreme Court Judge Man McGee? That sounds
Probably doesn't pay as well.
Sounds like a lot of work, though.
Yeah, but you get free pastries at the end
Nah,
of,
if you're on the Supreme Court, you can
Wait.
just do crimes and get away with it, and nobody stops you.
This is true. Nice political humour. I'm going to drink now.
Hey.
We then cut to 40 years later in the future, and we've got the classic 90s thing of there's hover cars everywhere. And
Guys, 40 years later is 8 years from now.
I know, don't say that.
Don't worry, because Blade Runner was like, what, 7 years ago?
Where's my hover car?
Well, yeah, Back to the Future promised us hover cars by 2015.
And hover skateboards.
Yep. Well, we do have hoverboards. They're a little more burny than the ones in Back to the Future.
Bart is now the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, and we see that classic movies are being played, and we see that the Itchy and Scratchy movie is showing.
I think it's really clear that Bart is voiced by a woman whenever Bart is depicted as an adult, because it just sounds like a child doing an adult's voice.
Good background gag in this scene as well that, like, I think a lot of people might easily have missed is the poster of Bart in the box office is still there.
Oh, I didn't notice that. That's good.
Homer declares that Bart has probably learned his lesson, so he can now go see the movie. And Homer offers to pay for it, but it's $650. At least they got that. At least they got that part right.
Yeah.
Yep.
We then see that for fans of Futurama, we see that someone is trying to order Soylent Green, and Homer's excited about this.
For fans of
Futurama didn't
do you not mean
exist
the
at this
fucking
point.
Soylent Green? Do you mean the film Soylent Green?
Now, Futurama, the Soylent Green is a very prominent food.
Yeah, but
Yes.
it's based on there is a film called Soylent Green. Futurama is riffing on the same thing.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's
I'm not backing down on this.
Fine.
Matt Groening invented Soylent Green. Don't.
I guess Michael's saying from a modern context, if you're a fan of Futurama and that particular gag, it's a similar gag. Fine.
Agreed.
We then see the Itchy and Scratchy movie in all its glory, which is basically Itchy's journey to becoming a train engineer.
Mm-hmm.
I do appreciate that he took the time to put his diploma on before going to get the job to run
Yeah,
over
genuinely
cars.
some good gags. Like I was actually surprised that it was there were good gags in it rather than just violence.
We then see that Itchy's heading towards Scratchy, and we see that one of the animation shots is just Scratchy's bones.
Yep.
Yeah, this feels like a bit that got cut because we see Scratchy tied up on the railway tracks trying to untie himself. Cut to the train. Cut back to Scratchy. Now there's just dismembered limbs floating in the air trying to untie itself, and his body's gone. It's like something happened to this cat in the in-betweening frames, and I'm guessing it was too...
I just took it as that like the rest of his body's been splattered against the front of the train and his arms and legs are still working.
Oh, was that... Did I misread it? I thought he hadn't even been hit by the train at that point.
No, he had. He'd been hit by he got hit by the train and then.
Unless someone made an edit to remove the impact.
Yeah, see, the impact didn't really come through. The train goes through. I just read that as the train is still approaching. It's like building suspense. The train will he escape in time? And then the next scene is he's still trying to untie himself, but for some reason his body is gone.
I think it's a very blink and you miss it impact, but it does happen.
Oh, okay.
Like the train goes by and then his hands and legs are still there.
I am going through this frame by frame in Frinkiac, and I swear to God, you cannot tell.
I must have just filled in the blanks, man.
Maybe
I
that's what they
hallucinated
wanted.
it.
Maybe they just like, if we make it look about right, people will just sort of fill in the blanks.
I am the target demographic of The Simpsons. I am on the intellectual level of The Simpsons. It's actually really smart if you have a degree in thermodynamics.
Homer then asks which one is Itchy, and Bart confirms it's the mouse. And Homer just ends it with Itchy's a jerk.
This was
And
actually a really sweet ending. I thought it was going to be, like that Bart quits his job and becomes a ne'er-do-well, and that was the whole, like, haha, Homer's been proven right kind of thing, or something. But no, it is just a genuinely cute, sweet ending of a father and a son enjoying a film. I like that.
Yeah. What was everyone's overall thought on the episodes?
I thought it was a fun episode. Pretty regular gags. I think I've said it a couple times this season, but you really can feel that the Simpsons formula has been solidified now. Of just, we have a plot and gag, but we're somehow going to manage to weave in the plot as it goes, which is quite clever.
See, for me, it just felt a bit...
perfunctory?
Yeah, it was fine. Like, I didn't dislike it per se, but it didn't really like stand out to me.
No, exactly. That's what I mean.
I think it was slow to really get moving. Like I say, I don't think it really like took off till the third act, and a lot of the gags that were just like, oh, somebody wrote this gag and they had to shoehorn it in somewhere. It felt a bit all over the place. It felt inconsistent, I guess is the word I'd use. It didn't feel like one episode.
Do you think this episode could have benefited from a B plot then?
Maybe if it would sort of streamline and focus the A plot a bit more, then potentially.
Yeah. Michael?
This episode's a lot better than I remember it being. At least that's the way I felt with it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
The moments that I found funny, I found very funny. So, I mean, it's not the best complete overall episode I've ever seen, but I still got a lot of enjoyment out of it.
Yeah, it's not going to be in anyone's top 10, but it is a, and I think there's going to be a lot of those episodes coming up, of just this was an episode of Simpsons, and it was enjoyable, because I think for a while now we're going to have that majority of episodes of Simpsons are going to be like a 6 out of 10 kind of vibe.
I think it's going to be higher than that personally, but we'll see when we get there.
Yeah. Out of Homers.
I'm going to give it a dog driving a bus out of Homer.
Just kind of cute.
It's a cute episode. It's quite a good, fun image, but there's a couple of hiccups there that maybe we need to think about.
A few hiccups like a dead child. John?
I give it 53% new footage out of Homer.
I did like that gag. That was a good gag.
Yeah, they described the
Sorry, I
movie as
missed
that.
that.
We skipped over that, but yeah, in the trailer they described the movie as 53% new footage because it just felt a bit sort of patchwork. It just felt like pieced together out of other bits, and I was like, okay, well, there's something here, but it doesn't feel like a complete whole,
Yeah. I gave it a janitor at the Supreme Court out of Homer. You're glad it's there, but golly if you don't remember them much.
Okay.
Did anyone have any things about society?
It's definitely musing on the subject of child discipline and movie hype. I don't know if it really commits to saying anything specifically.
No, I think it's a very like bog standard. Disciplining a child is hard. Parents these days, don't discipline their kids enough, and how hard being the bad guy is. And then there's also the look at how disturbing cartoons can be and what they get away with just because they're a cartoon. And then obviously the first appearance of a slightly casually racist character who is still in the show today, just with a different, now Mexican voice actor.
Yeah, I mean, there's also the ice cream truck as well, which felt distasteful. And it's only, as I say, with us talking about it, I didn't really make the connection watching it. It was only now that we've talked about it. It was like, oh, this is a political correctness gone mad joke. And it makes sense because it's John Swartzwelder, the libertarian.
Yeah, and then the casual reference to child sexual assault is really fucking weird.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty grim.
Also, Scotty could afford to lose some weight.
Nah, Scotty's beautiful how he is, man. Just more of him to love, baby.
No, we'll have no body shame here.
But what if he can't reach the controls?
Then they all die.
We can get him a poking stick.
Now body shaming. It's shall we move on?
Oh, Nate Myers gave it 3.5 out of 5. Now we're done with it.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's
can
fine.
accept that.
I won't go strangled.
This seems reasonable, yeah.
Also, sorry, yeah, this was something I completely forgot to mention. Hasn't Homer like physically disciplined Bart like throughout his whole life? Why has Homer suddenly got the fucking ump about disciplining his child?
He frequently chokes him physically.
Well, I didn't want to like specifically say those words out loud. I just wanted to say physically discipline. But yes, doesn't Homer like harm his child and punish his child regularly?
Running gag, yeah.
I think they released a statement this week saying they're going to keep the choking in because it's the soul of the show.
The soul of the show. Fuck off.
I'm not sure I agree with the soul of the show.
I think that's what they said, something along those lines. It might not exactly be that exact quote, but
no, I mean, look, I get being precious about your show and stuff, but if you're, I would have sooner, if they were going to use that argument, I would sooner say Apu is more important than Homer choking Bart.
I would agree with that.
I mean, yes, but also like if you object to Apu and how you portray the character, do what you've done with Bumblebee, man, and get like someone who's of the correct like ethnicity to portray the character.
Him, yes. Which I don't understand why they haven't already done.
We've had this discussion. I don't think any of us have like a huge problem with Apu.
Not really, no.
But at the same time, we're all white.
Yeah, I mean, not that I know enough people who'd be happy to come on a podcast about it, I don't think, but I would be interested to get someone Indian to come on as a guest for an Apu episode. Hey, are you listening to this podcast? Are you Indian? Do you want to talk about Apu? When we get to an Apu episode, come join us. We need a guest to talk about it.
That felt weird. Let's talk about Marge Gets a Job real quick.
All right, fair enough.
This aired a mere 2 days later on November 5th, 1992, and beat Itchy and Scratchy, the movie, in the ratings.
I think that's fair.
So, on this day on history, would anyone like to guess what the revenge match of the 20th century is?
The revenge match? Okay.
Mike Tyson, boxing?
Nope. American chess master Bobby Fischer beat Russian Boris Spassky to win an unofficial match in Belgrade.
Oh.
Fucking epic, dude.
Yeah, revenge match of the 20th century, folks. That's what they're billing it as.
Well, they can't call it a grudge match because that's like a really typical boxing and wrestling thing.
Oyster Man is still your number one on all fronts.
Yay.
And
That's
Jan
a lot
Hendrik Oort, Dutch astronomer who hypothesized the existence of the Oort cloud around the solar system, died aged 92.
Oort cloud.
The Oort cloud.
Oort cloud sounds like something you get at a sauna.
I'm going to work out if that's sexual or not.
I could go for an Oort cloud right now.
Not if you're orgasming all the time.
That's the Swiss name for it. It's an Oort cloud. Anyway, I'm gonna dig myself out of this hole.
The inventor of the ELO rating system also died this day. Important people died.
The inventor of the what?
ELO.
All right, Simpsons.
It's used widely in esports, but also chess. ELO rating.
Oh, holy shit! I didn't know that ELO was that old.
Did he die in shock of Bobby Fischer's win?
Yeah,
maybe.
Hey,
my
all
God,
ties together.
he's done it.
It's like a rocket.
We have no time to talk about this episode.
Speaking, I can tie this together. Blackboard gag. I will not teach others to fly. Gonna fly now.
Yeah,
right.
Good. It was a mediocre chalk gag. The gag of the heads, they all sit down on the couch and they've all got the wrong heads, was mildly amusing. Fucking episode, go!
Okay, Marge comes in with the mail, which includes a free sample of lemon thyme, which Homer immediately starts to drink.
Oh, that because I at first thought it meant he was just drinking lemon juice. And then she's like, that's fucking dish soap. I was like, that's so much worse.
It doesn't stop Homer, he just keeps going.
What are you gonna do?
What are you going to do?
But then, seeing that Marge has got an invitation to the nuclear power plant, and this prompts Homer to think about his own retirement, which is just him lying on the couch, which he's already doing.
Yep.
That'd
be sweet.
We then get a random shot of Ned Flanders smoking a pipe out of the window.
Flanders smokes? What the fuck? Who knew?
Yeah, he smokes a pipe.
As Homer tells him to get lost, Marge makes the comment he was looking a bit more slanty than usual.
This is just like the start of like an endless barrage of visual gags. This episode is so fucking good for visual gags.
Yeah. Why
We don't
didn't
see
Ned
that-
tell them what was happening, though? That seems like something Ned would say.
Maybe he just
Probably.
assumed that they knew.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It's like, well, they must know that half their house is falling.
Well, maybe it's what Homer thought, which is that it's all part of God's great plan.
Ah.
We then see that immediately after this revelation, everything starts slanting down the thing, including Maggie towards a fan.
Yes, dark joke.
Homer saves her just in time, and as various things continue to fall off the roof, including a ornamental Santa, which tickles Nelson.
Mm-hmm.
We then see that Homer has decided to fix the sinking house himself, and we see that he's got the half-assed approach to foundation repair, which has half a donkey on it.
Yeah, I like that very simple visual gag.
Yeah.
We see that the host of this home repair is Troy McClure, and we may remember him from such instructional videos as Mothballing Your Battleship and Dig Your Own Grave and Save.
Wikipedia notes that this is in fact an actual instructional video or in some sort of instructional guide to foundation repair, and all of these lines that he uses are real foundational repair tips.
That's amazing.
We then see that
Do you think
Troy
someone
McClure-
owned this VHS and then they brought it into work saying, "Isn't this funny?" And then they thought, "We're using this."
Oh, it was from a book. Yeah, all the jargon used by Troy McClure was taken from a Time Life Foundation repair book and used accurately.
Amazing.
we learn that it's not quite as simple as we thought, as we see that several things, including extruded polyvinyl foam insulation. And when Troy McClure asks Homer that, he goes, "No." He goes, "Good."
Yeah.
We just see several things of Homer just being completely bamboozled by the whole thing, including if he doesn't have steel vectors, he needs like carbon vectors or something.
And it's all jargon and Homer being confused. It's like a long barrage of these, but it's great. Yeah.
Yep.
We then see that Surly Joe has arrived to have a look, and we see him put the leveling tool on top of the thing, and it just immediately comes down.
Did you see
Did you
the
see
bubble?
Surly Joe declares that it's going to cost $8,500.
$8,500.
Homer is not willing to pay this and declares that Silly Joe is not the only foundation repair guy in town. We then see Homer look in the yellow pages to reveal that Silly Joe is in fact indeed the only foundation
And that's in
repair
fact
man
the company's slogan.
We then cut to the news report of the White House on fire, and the Vice President is apparently in charge.
Such a blink and you'll miss it joke. It was
Yeah.
just throwaway for like 1
BT
second, but it's
Dubs,
like, by
the president's dead.
yeah. I did do a double take. I was like, wait, what?
The news report is actually about the Slanty house, and we see that many tourists, many of them Japanese, are out there in front of the house taking photos.
Leaning Tower of Springfield or whatever.
We then see that Bart has turned it into a sort of like freak show attraction and points out to Cue Ball, the man with no hair. This causes Homer to angrily go to the window as the woman shrieks that he's hideous.
hideous.
Homer angrily sits back down on the couch and then just immediately slides to the other side.
Again,
Nice.
this is all great.
That's great.
Marge says that they can't go on like this, and Homer then declares that they only have 500 in the bank, so they need 800.
So, it'll cost 8,500. We have 500. We need 800. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong, but okay.
That's
Marge
not how
then-
words work, Homer.
We see that Marge suggests she get a job, and then Homer fantasizes again about quitting his and living out his fantasy of living in the woods.
I love how he's
Then-
still got like his casual like jeans and a polo shirt on, but just no shoes, and he's just like, yeah, dear journal, I wish I'd brought a TV.
Dear God, I wish I had it.
I miss TV.
As he's surrounded by
There's an
animals.
obscure reference to something, I believe. Of
No, they'd never.
course. It is,
Unfortunately, Marge then reveals that Homer needs to keep his job too.
No.
We then see that the retirement party is now taking place for Jack Marley, and it's at the Spruce Caboose.
Hey.
We did get a brief history of the Spruce Caboose, of which
Yeah,
it was
Michael.
apparently two. Yeah, sorry, I just completely fucked to that naming.
The spruce. What is it? The spruce caboose.
Yep.
The Spruce Caboose.
Which is
Spruce
obviously
caboose.
a play on a really big wooden plane called the Spruce Goose. And I nearly said Spruce Moose, but that is a later Simpsons joke.
Yeah, I know which one you mean. We get the brief history from the maintaining at the
The
restaurant.
very
but,
French maitre d'.
but most people thought it was too big for the tracks, and it turns out they were right.
And they were right.
Marge and Homer are then led to their table by the headless engineer, who crashes into everything as he's taking them.
Another
Yep,
just
they did not put eye
random
holes in the
bleak
costume.
joke. Because
But-
the joke is there that the engineer of the train lost his head in the accident.
I just read it as they're playing up the train wreck for like entertainment purposes. I think necessarily think it's based on a real character. It's just like,
No,
oh,
I don't think it's
let's
based on
have
a real character. I think it's just
not real, but real in the context of this disaster.
right. Yeah, no, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I just read it as they're just making shit up for entertainment purposes.
Maybe.
The retirement party's in the four-way, and Smithers has got a surprise for Jack in that he's got a special song written. He starts going into the full-on vaudeville
It's
song,
so
and
weird.
it turns out it's not for Jack, it's for Mr. Burns. And it's just basically a song talking about Mr. Burns, and
It's based on a song and dance number from Citizen Kane.
it's a very touching song, and Jack finally asks if he can say a few words, and Mr. Burns gets very sulky about it, saying, oh, it's your retirement party. Jack basically begs them not to make him retire because he never got married.
This job
and
is my life. This job is the only thing that keeps me alive. That's the one.
I just felt so sad.
Oh, he's tragic. He
I mean,
really is.
he never married, his dog's dead, but Burns has the, well, he's a jolly good fellow music played, and his bodyguards throw him out of the train with a nice hearty foot. Burns declares that the position is now open with his retirement and then closes the bar.
I didn't realize that this was such an obvious joke about how companies will fire people that have been there long enough to gain enough annual raises so that then they can reopen the position as an entry level position.
Yeah,
Yep,
I didn't even clock that. Yeah.
Well,
That's how corporate America
as a
works.
gamer, we should all be experiencing this because we know how often it happens at like Activision or Blizzard. That's the same company. Ubisoft did it. Blizzard's like the biggest one because they fired like 450 people 2 years ago, and then
They
literally
don't usually
2 months...
wait till retirement age, though.
No, but then 2 months afterwards, they put up all of those jobs again, but like 10% the pay kind of thing.
Yeah, games industry's pretty bad for being like, it's the end of a project. We've launched the game. We don't need you anymore.
Goodbye.
And they're like, oh, we've started a new project. Better hire some people.
Fucking idiots.
But yeah, Marley has worked in Sector 7G as well, so apparently he should have worked alongside Homer.
Alongside is bold.
Well, I feel like we should have seen him before, you know, but he obviously has to be a disposable character.
As they arrive home, Marge muses that she might apply for the job, and Homer tries to dissuade her of this by saying it would go against the Bible of not interfering with a man's racket.
Thou shalt not horn in on thy husband's racket.
That's the-
Where in the Bible does it say racket? It's in there.
I forgot how often Homer just like pretends to quote the Bible.
As Homer says they don't need the money that badly, we then see the third one from the chimney, which causes Bart to fall out of the window onto his head, which immediately
Proper
gets up.
cracks his head on ground, man.
I noted somewhere in the midst of all this, the house only slants when they want to, like, do a gag. When they have a serious scene, like the next one where Lisa and Marge are writing a resume, like, there's no slanting involved in any of this. The house is fine.
Wait, yeah, what?
Only when they want to do a visual gag does it still slant.
Yeah, because there's the dinner scene as well.
Yep.
We then cut to Marge writing a resume at the kitchen, which she shows to Lisa, and it's just homemaker, 1980 to present. So Marge has done nothing for 12 years.
And now she's done nothing for, what, 44 years?
No, she worked at the power plant for a bit.
Oh, right,
Yeah,
fair.
that-
Yeah. And
that's
she was a
spoilers.
police officer.
Yeah,
That's
she's
true,
good.
yeah. She's had jobs.
And she was an astronaut at one point, wasn't she? She was also an astronaut. They've done it with both of them.
I don't know that episode. Okay.
Or she was a pilot or something. I don't remember.
She worked in real estate at some point.
She
Yeah.
did, because she got a golden jacket, because that's a thing.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand that reference.
She had a pretzel business too.
Okay,
You'll
so she's got a
fight it
resume.
forward.
We've got that much.
We then, Lisa decides to pad out the resume.
As you do.
We see that things include chauffeur and curator of large animals, which is revealed to just mean Homer. And Marge is also shocked to learn that Lisa's put that she worked for the Carter administration, which basically means Marge voted for them twice, which Marge seems sufficiently horrified by.
Shh, someone might be listening.
We then see that Smithers is looking at Marge's resume and noting that he thought Muddy Waters had become that song. Which is a nice little joke. He don't congratulate her in Swahili, but Marge has no idea what he's talking
My
about.
Swahili's not as good as yours.
Smithers then sticks his head out the door to tell everyone that the position has been fulfilled, and we see several candidates walk away, including a pretty dejected Jack
Marley
who's-
interviewing for his own job back again. Oh, poor guy.
He's not happy with
Justice
his
for Marley.
Absolutely.
We then cut back to the dinner scene where Homer says that husbands and wives shouldn't work together, and Marge stares at him glaringly. Homer quickly changed the subject by picking up a newspaper to say Canada to hold a referendum. We then cuts to Lisa telling Marge how proud she is that they'll be like the Curies working together. As Bart asks who they are, Lisa tells them that they discovered uranium before dying of uranium poisoning.
This was such a random ass BT Dubs Lisa's intelligent joke.
It then leads to Bart fantasizing about the Curies being gigantic Godzilla-sized monsters in
Kaijus.
Tokyo.
I loved the added touch of when they're yelling to run away, their lip syncing is off. Like
Yeah,
actual
no, it's not.
Japanese like translated movies. I thought that was awesome.
2 notes on this scene. Canada's hold referendum, they actually did. It was actually quite recent at the time the episode aired. They tried to implement a new constitution. They did not. That failed miserably. It just did not pass whatsoever. And Pierre Curie did not die of radiation poisoning. Pierre Curie, I think it's Simpsons archive noted, he died of a traffic accident if you consider being hit by a wooden wheel from a carriage to be a traffic accident.
That's incredibly unfortunate.
Yeah, if you consider having your head struck by a wagon wheel a traffic accident is the note on the Simpsons archive.
As Homer's driving Marge to work, he advises her that the best way to get around is just to blame everything on the guy that can't speak English, and that this is Tibor.
Tibor. Do we ever see Tibor? I feel like we do at some point, but like I don't know.
Background.
I think we see Ronaldo at some point, but
Ronaldo.
it's in one of the Who Shot Mr. Burns episodes.
And Alejandro, we see him.
Oh, yes, the tennis guy.
I want to meet Tibor.
I think Maggie is in a crypt trying to indicate to Grandpa, who's babysitting, that she wants a bottle. Grandpa just assumes that there's something wrong with Maggie and starts reading from his book of ailments.
Oh,
and
this is
starts-
someone had so much fun writing, like just things. I mean, I guess maybe some of these are real, but like
I
someone had a
suspect
lot of
Dum
fun
Dum
with this.
Fever is not a real thing.
Yeah, do you have dropsy, the grip, scopula, the vapors, jungle rot, shanty fever, poor man's gout, housemaid's knee, climactic boober, the staggers, dum dum fever.
Booba.
All the time, Maggie's trying to get out of the crypt to get to her own ball.
Tell you what, guys, I want a woman with climactic boober, if you know what I'm saying.
Can't tell if he did a motor noise or threw up.
I didn't. I just made a weird noise. Anyway, Simpsons.
Then see Marge is outside her office, and unfortunately Tibor lost the key, but Smithers can open it with a credit card. Marge asks Smithers what she's supposed to do, and Smithers' response is, "Your resume said you built this machine."
Yeah, according to your resume, you built this machine.
Yeah, Marge's resume just gets grander and grander over the course of the episode. It's great.
We then see Marge just press her random button, and the employees are fleeing from fire. Which is quite a thing. We then cut back to the Simpsons, and it's time for a test at Bart's school, but Bart fakes a stomach ache. Mr. Krabappel, not buying it, asks if Bart if he's ever read the book The Boy Who Cried Wolf.
And it's time for a B
Yeah,
plot.
introducing the B plot.
Bart declares that he's halfway through it before he manages to get off to the nurse's office. We then see that Marge is doing some paperwork at lunch, but Homer's not going to stand for this, and sends the tube off down some sort of, I don't even know what you would call this, like a passage?
It's a pneumatic tube. He puts it in, he's like, let's file into R for Arrivederci. Rolls it up and just shoves it in there. And
Yeah, I wonder how often pneumatic tubes, are still used, because they seem cool.
I think in a few specific, like, in industries, like, they're still, like, commonplace. I've seen, I think there's a Tom Scott video showed, like, a cafe that operates on it. Like, you have to send your order via pneumatic tube, which sounds fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I know, right?
Do you want to go there?
We then see that the tubes actually just go outside to a beaver dam where the beavers are just...
What the hell? There's beavers making a dam out of all the important documents of the power plant.
We then see that Bart's at home, and Grandpa is using his home remedies on Bart, which include going to the pharmacy to find some leeches.
I found a
Turns out-
pharmacy that carries leeches. Well, it was more of a bait shop.
Yeah.
But then declares that he's okay, but Grandpa's got the thermometer, and
Oral
Besides
thermometer in my eye.
Think
Gets all that
warm
from-
thoughts.
Guess where that thermometer went, folks?
Uh,
Spoiler, it may have been where the doll went.
oh, God.
We then cut back to the power plant, and Mr. Burns is surveying his employees on the cameras, which include a cockfight and a chess game happening at the same time.
While the Star Wars Imperial March plays in the
Yeah, that was
background.
so weird.
Amazing. We then cut to Mr. Burns finally sees Marge and is immediately taken by her, declaring that his heart's going a mile a minute. We didn't get a close, but Mr. Burns' very black heart and
Oh, horrible squelching noise,
Black
man. Just
shriveled heart, yeah.
Burns then asks Smithers to zoom in on her and get the camera as close as he can until it actually hits Marge.
Too close.
Let's see, the next scene, Mr. Burns pays a visit on Marge to give her gifts that he gives to every single employee.
I like the subtle gag that just like Homer, Mr. Burns forgets Marge every time he sees her up until this point as well. Because he's met Marge like multiple times to the point where she drew a portrait of him.
Yeah. Yes, this is true, yeah. I didn't think about that.
As Marge takes her gift, he wonders why morale is so low. And we cut to several employees, which include somebody drinking scotch, somebody's quietly sobbing, and a man with a
This is
shotgun.
the other joke that made me uncomfortable.
Oh, the guy about to go postal.
Just
yeah.
a random mass shooting joke.
The Angel of Death. as he
I mean,
refers
I
to
get
himself.
that they hadn't happened that much in the 90s yet, but holy fuck, does this joke not really land as funny anymore? Especially not in an American show.
Yeah.
Burns is dismissive of them, but then pretends that he does care. And Marge suggests several morale-boosting things, which include funny hat days and healthier snacks.
And maybe pumping in some Tom Jones, that always cheers her up.
Yeah.
Bear that in mind for later.
Foreshadowing, yeah.
We then cut to the next scene, and What's New Pussycat is now playing over the tannoy. Well, all these people are still doing the same thing.
And they're wearing silly hats.
Yeah. We then go to Mr. Burns declaring he's working while he's wearing his Viking hat.
Yep.
In the canteen, we see that the donuts are being confiscated, and Lenny in his fez tries to be a hero, and it does not work out very well for him.
This is bullshit. Homer would go Super Saiyan for his donuts.
Yeah, but the guy's defending it with a chain whip.
Yeah, and Homer would just fucking eat the whip. These are his donuts, fam. You ain't taking them.
Then go to the next scene, and Mr. Burns is giving Marge a raise in the new office, which turned out to be Smithers. But
See,
Smithers
this
being...
is where I thought the episode was going. Was that for one, because they make a load of BT Dubs Smithers' gay jokes, and he wants to do the sex with Mr. Burns. So I thought it was going to be that Smithers found a way to get Marge fired. But nope. It's just that, you know, Mr.
Smithers
Burns
is
is a
actually-
creep.
Yep, Smithers is quite happy about his new role, which is scrubbing all the urinals with a toothbrush. Unfortunately, at that moment, Homer comes in and completely ruins his life. I do love I do love a good no.
It's another fairly visual one. It's like springtime fresh, winter white. What could be better? Homer's like, oh, I gotta, yeah,
Man, I gotta.
Well, he goes to the next scene, and Mrs. Krabappel's asking Bart if he feels better, and Bart runs up the wall to demonstrate that he's okay.
Yeah, flip it out. This is a flip, man.
Then Mrs. Krabappel says he can do his makeup test, and Bart is immediately taken ill again.
Yeah.
It says, oh my
My
ovaries.
ovaries.
We then see that Bart is being taken home by Grandpa, and Grandpa asks him if he's read The Boy Who Cried Wolf, and
Again,
Well,
foreshadowing.
Bart kind of gives a
I
half-assed
skimmed it.
yes. He skimmed it, yeah. Grandpa then asks Bart if the light's green, and Bart says it is, and Grandpa says it better
It
be.
better
Wait, no,
be.
it runs over two people. We then go back to the bedtime with the Simpsons, and Homer is upset because he's used to seeing people getting promoted ahead of him, which include friends, co-workers, and T-Bar himself. But he never thought it'd be his own wife.
Good old T-Bar.
Marge declares that Homer would get promoted if he worked a bit harder.
He did
and,
get promoted. He became safety officer.
They conveniently forgot this.
Yeah.
He was also Burns' personal assistant for a little while.
Yep.
Homer declares that he's not going to sleep in a bed with somebody that thinks he's lazy. So he starts going through the process of going downstairs to roll out the couch and pull out the sleeping bag, then immediately gives up halfway through and goes straight to
good night.
We then see that Burns is watching Marge on the monitors again, and he's lying on the floor like a schoolgirl. He then tells Smithers that he had the dream where you're in bed and they fly through the window, and we immediately cut to Smithers, and Smithers has his own fantasy of Mr. Burns flying through the window.
Yeah.
Just in case you had watched Simpsons for 4 years and not worked out that Smithers might have been gay. I think this probably would have been the moment.
There was what they described as an animation error that caused a bit of an issue with the sensors, because the way they draw the bed, there is a lump in the bed, which I think was they intended to be his knee. That is apparently it was not necessarily taken as his knee. If you get my drift.
I mean, the orgasm face when we came back to reality probably didn't help that either. So Mr. Burns then asks Smithers to arrange a party. And at the moment, he also asks them to dig up Al Jolson. And Smithers says that's a bad idea because, well, he's dead.
They tried that
before. And we don't get the details of how that evening went.
Yeah, I like that he specifically uses the phrase "dig up Al Jolson." It was like, wait, the fact that he's like, "Oh right, he's dead." Initially, he sort of implies that he knows he's dead because, like, oh, you have to dig him up. But like, I don't know, weird one, but
just
charming.
Another fun, like, Mr. Burns is old kind of thing as well. Al Jolson did blackface.
Yeah, we touched on this. Was it? It was last week, wasn't it? Because it was the King Homer one. There's two Al Jolson references in two podcasts.
Yeah.
Because Al Jolson got arrested. Yes,
the king of blackface got arrested? What?
We don't see that the Planet Country on Western Day. Unfortunately, Lenny doesn't realise this and comes as the Fonz.
Yep.
Because he thought it was 50s Greasers Day. And
50s Day is next Wednesday.
I gotta go home and change.
We hear the motorcycle in the distance, just in case you didn't quite get that
and everyone
joke.
like is clearly like looking. It's weird. It's as if the visual gag is supposed to be that Lenny just had his motorcycle in the plant or something. It's very weird. There's this awkward moment of stillness while Lenny gets on his motorcycle. It's weird.
We then see that Surly Joe has fixed the house, and he offers to. The characters decide to give Homer a 50-cent piece. Homer tells him to get out, and then eventually this escalates to Homer saying, "Get my gun."
Frankly, Marge earning some scratch at her new job if like they fixed the house that easy, if they got the $8,000 together like
She
that.
got promoted in like a week, so
Yeah, what's his face? Mr. Burns was probably just lavishing her with gifts.
Yeah, sugar daddy, sugar
we then
grandpa.
cut to Vegas, and we see that Smithers tries to ask Tom Jones to do a private gig, but which he's not very keen to do.
Sorry, mate, I don't do private parties.
But Smithers then asks him to look in the second briefcase, which turns out to be some sort of knockout gas.
That was a flawless impression, by the way. You should all be in fucking awe.
Oh, perfect Welsh.
Smithers goes all Bond villain on us, and
yeah, again,
Mr. Jones.
two really succinct Bond jokes as well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Jones.
We then cut back to Bart, and Bart has finally had to face the issue of taking his test, even though he's had smallpox, the bends, and Tourette syndrome.
Rabies.
Oh, wait, hang on. Wait. Did your episode say Tourette syndrome, the one you watched?
No, actually, no, mine's a rabies now I think about it.
Yeah, because
I'm just reading this off the archive, yeah.
Yeah, the first airing of this episode, it said Tourette syndrome, and they got a lot of complaints from people with Tourette syndrome because it was distasteful, and they changed it to rabies for later airings.
I did wonder why Bart like swore and stuff.
Yeah, this is why his immediate response is "shove it, witch," because like the original script said Tourette syndrome. Yeah.
That makes more sense because I'm thinking people in rabies don't do this.
Well, I was
very
thinking,
rabid.
I was thinking, like, yeah, Tourette's doesn't make sense because for one, it's not a disease and it's not something you'd get sent home for.
Mm-hmm.
That's my only beef with it. I mean, look, yeah, it's a weird thing to make a joke about, but at the same time, yeah, I mean, there's worse things. But again, I don't have Tourette's, so.
It is a throwaway joke at the expense of a condition which is poorly understood and presented in the mainstream media.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah.
Meanwhile, we cut to the Krusty show, and Krusty has an eagle claws in his head. At the same time, we're introduced to a giant wolf, just in case you wonder where the B-plot was going.
It goes to show you that with Simpsons, because I didn't realise this was supposed to be like an episode of Krusty the Clown's show. I thought it was like we were now just like, and now we go to Krusty talking to this woman about maybe buying a new fucking animal. And I was just like, okay. Because that's Simpsons. I was just like, all right, this is what's happening now.
Turns out it is the show, and unfortunately, in the description of the wolf, the word loud was used, and that's the word of the day, which leads to several loud noises. Which...
Yeah, I think you can just kind of make out the audience in the foreground very slightly, which I think is supposed to tip you off that this is the show.
Yeah.
The wolf manages to get free of its chain before it goes on the loop run. Meanwhile, Christy is being attacked by the eagle again because she thinks he's interested in your eggs.
I only ate one.
I already ate one. We then see the wolf on the prowl, including walking past Chief Wiggum again, who gets another good line of
Nice
good
doggy.
doggy.
He's so good at his job. I love him.
Yeah.
We then see that the wolf is outside the school while Bart is writing about a Russian farmer and his tool Ivanhoe. Bart looks up to see the wolf, and we can see Bart literally cry wolf, but Mrs. Krabappel is not buying it, even though it became increasingly more violent, including the window being smashed.
You're just wasting valuable test time.
We cut to Mr. Burns applying scalp wax to his head, and as Marge enters,
The
wax on his
noise
head
when he
causes him-
picks up the wax, just that.
Fortunately, the scalp wax causes Mr. Burns to smash his
Oh,
face.
fucking that
Yeah.
got me so
Good
hard.
visual gag there. He leans on his head and then slides off it.
Because
It's
he
great.
proper clouts it as well.
Mr. Burns then invites Marge to his private get-together with very awkwardly smiling Tom Jones, and we see the reason for this is Smithers has a gun in his back.
That's it. Big smile. Everybody's happy.
We don't get another gag as this is happening when Marge is declaring her excitement as Tom Jones gets absolutely knocked out by the door.
Yes. Yep.
This is the point where Marge reveals that she's married, and Homer and Mr. Burns is horrified to learn this as he completely imagines what Homer looks like, and it's nothing like what Homer actually should look like.
I thought it was just going to be a buff version of Mr. Burns in his fantasies, to be honest.
Nope, it's a random blonde Italian man who declares Mr. Burns to be a senile old fool
Senile
the-
fool.
as he imagines them mocking him. This prompts Burns to fire Marge, and Marge declares that she will sue the pants off Mr. Burns. Mr. Burns creepily replies to, "You don't need to sue me to get my pants off." Wow.
Ugh.
That's, you can't say these days.
I don't think you could say it then, mate.
Probably not. No.
No.
Michael being like, shit, I may be about to get sued.
Oh, there's going to be some awkward discussions tomorrow. Meanwhile, we're cut back to Bart underneath the claws of the wolf, but fortunately for us, groundskeeper Willie's here, and he demands that Wolfie drop the hors d'oeuvre because it's time for the main course. Willie rips off his shirt to reveal those glistening muscles, and Willie and the wolf do a charging jump at each other as they start to wrestle. We then see that while all this is happening, Marge is at Lionel Hutt's office to file her sexual harassment claim, and Lionel Hutz is quite excited about this because will be the case that brings his struggling law firm back. He invites Marge to join him in Scotch, but Marge says it's 9 a.m, but he's not
Yes,
slept
but
for
I haven't
days.
slept in days.
We then cut back to Bart returning to the classroom in complete tatters, as Miss Krabappel demands to know the truth. Bart just says that he made the whole thing about the wolf before he passes out. Mrs. Krabappel tells him it's great to tell the truth before realizing that Bart is actually unconscious.
Pokes him with a ruler.
Oh dear. We then see that Bart is being taken away by Grandpa so he can rub garlic on him in advance of the full moon.
More oldie-timey cures. Yep.
And then we see that Willie and the wolf are now hanging out.
They're friends now. That's great.
I've been wrestling wolves since you were sucking at your ma's teat.
The wolf gets a couple of licks of whiskey, so it's all good. We then see that Lionel Hutz is at Mr. Burns' office and declares that they've got a paper trail, witnesses, and all that. But Mr. Burns reveals his 10 high-priced lawyers, and this causes Lionel Hutz to run away in absolute terror before revealing that his briefcase just contains shredded newspaper.
Why did it contain anything?
To make it look like to give it some heft.
I guess
to make
the
it look
sound
like...
of jiggling paper?
Yeah, maybe also sound. Yeah.
Marge is sadly forlorn and feels very beaten, but Homer refuses to leave until Mr. Burns apologizes to Marge.
Marge, if you're wondering if this show had anything to say about society, it delivers the line, "People like us can't afford justice."
Yep.
That is depressingly true. Burns is taken over by the fact that Homer does love Marge and decides that's good enough and tells Homer to treat Marge for the night. Homer's response to this is that they're going to get drive-through and do it twice. But Mr. Burns provides its own solution, which is a private concert from Tom Jones. Homer and Marge are enjoying themselves quite a lot, obviously failing to notice that Tom Jones is actually shackled to the stage.
Gotta be honest,
Tom
guys,
Jones
would I rather get takeaway and have sex twice or go see Tom Jones? I mean, I like Tom Jones, but I really like KFC and sex.
Well, if you could have KFC and sex with Tom Jones.
Well, what a story.
I mean, he'd be up for it.
It's Tom Jones.
He'll just ask for help before anything happens from Interpol and as he begs for help. But we get the nice soothing sounds of it's not unusual as the episode fades out.
Yeah, just another
That's an
kind
episode.
of weirdly sweet ending. I thought it was very odd that Mr. Burns ended up being kind of the hero in the end, giving Marge and Homer a wonderful evening together.
Yeah, I think a lot of the critics were a little down on the ending, and I can see it. I think for me, I kind of just like glanced over it.
It was just
'cause
a
it's
weird
like,
ending.
okay,
It wasn't bad. It was just weird.
It was just. I think it's just a way to wrap things up because they're like, "Oh shit, we've written ourselves into a corner." And
Everything
everything's
must
okay.
return to zero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The house is repaired. The sexual harassment is been addressed. Mr. Burns.
Marge is
provided
happy
Tom
with a
Jones.
gig instead of like a
Work.
lawsuit,
It's all fine.
and she doesn't need the job anyway because the house is repaired. So
Yeah.
fine.
She can go back to her boring life until she gets a. I think the next job she gets is policeman. I'm just really because I remember really liking that episode, so I'm just hoping it's soon.
I remember. Oh, I don't remember much about that episode other than Scruff McGruff, the crime dog.
Scruff McGruff. It's danger to inhalants. Whatever that lyric is. So yeah, I thought it's another weird and wacky one. Just good gags all round. Yeah, the visual gags were just on point.
Oh, just a constant barrage of visual gags. I
it's a
really
great
enjoyed it.
Yeah, this is a good episode. I enjoyed it too.
Outs of Homer.
I'm going to give it a funny hat day out of Homer.
Any explanation, or are you just alright with that?
It's a nice visual gag that makes you laugh, but underneath there might be something that sometimes slightly doesn't quite make sense.
That's so good. I like that. John?
Out
Out of Homer. That's it.
I know. Fine, Homer.
You give it a Homer?
Ooh.
Yeah, I really fucking enjoyed this episode.
Yeah.
It was really good. I was laughing at this constantly and hard. Like the visual gags were so good all the way through it. I had such a good time with this episode. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what to expect. I don't remember this episode in the slightest, and it was a fucking banger.
Yeah, it's a great episode. I think that now puts Michael at the fewest homers, because I think the only episode he's given a homer is Michael Jackson, if I recall.
Did I not give it to him?
I think you might have, but no one's
Homer at the
tracking
bat.
it.
You
Homer
gave
at
it to
the
Homer
bat,
at the
yeah.
bat.
Homer at the bat.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. I gave it a Tom Jones is actually Welsh out of Homer. Funny and surprising. Because it's true. You know, you wouldn't expect it. Unless you know that he's Welsh.
I do
He's
enjoy
a
me
boyo
some
from
Tom
just down the
Jones.
road.
You aren't Welsh. Stop trying to claim it.
I didn't say I was Welsh, but he was born just down the road from me.
That's cool.
There are a couple of episodes coming up that I think might tempt me into giving a Homer.
Yeah.
I think there's a few. I share Matt's concerns about like potentially giving away too many, which is why I like hesitated on this one. I was like,
Yeah.
is this a Homer? Was this a
There
Homer?
are-
And then I stopped and objectively thought about it. And I was like, yeah, but this was really good. I enjoyed all of this. For me,
Yeah.
I did not expect it to be a Homer out of Homer at all, but it was.
Without going too much into season 4, there's 2 definite homers coming from me. But there's a couple that I'm on the fence, but I might do it.
I can think of one that I'm pretty confident will be a Homer out of Homer. I've got a few others that are maybes, yeah. I've got one that I have like a absolute moonshot of a guess that I'd love to get on, but I don't think it's going to happen. But we'll see when we get there.
Anything else about this saying about society that we haven't already covered?
Sexual harassment is not fun, neither is kidnap.
But if you're rich enough, you can get away with it.
Yeah. It's just all the stuff we've already talked about.
Yeah, there was a good jab at the sort of the ineffective token corporate morale improvement efforts.
Yeah,
It's like,
definitely. Like the pizza party thing.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like, oh, everybody hates their job. What if we make them all wear a silly hat one day a week? Will people enjoy their jobs now? Companies do this,
Yeah,
and it's
it's
exactly as bullshit as The Simpsons makes it out to be.
pretty horrifying.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're wrapping up.
I think we are. Do we have a lot to say about that one? So yeah, shill some stuff. Tell us what you're doing. What you got going on? What do you want to promote?
Fuck all.
Are you not back on the hill?
The hill?
Back on the grid. That's the one I want.
No, I still haven't bothered with any kind of like social media or anything like that. Please leave me the fuck alone. Hopefully, All for Arnold will be coming back soon. Because yeah, we're just gonna go ahead with the Commando episode with us guys. So yeah, that'll be coming soon.
Cool.
If you haven't already watched it, go watch the Red Sonja episode because we had thoughts on that movie, and that's the end of the like Conan verse that we'll be covering. So yeah, go watch it. Just go listen to the whole fucking show. It's great.
It is a very good podcast. Go listen to it. Michael.
You can follow me on X at Be My Shorts. It's basically Simpson memes and things to make you think.
Things that make you go,
And you can follow me on Twitter, the Everything app, at Maroka_BM. Go check out my YouTube channel, youtube.com/button mash. I haven't posted a video since last we convened, but
go watch that video on A Reckless Disregard for Gravity, the remake. I watched it again recently. It's good. I also rewatched your Exocolonist video.
Mm-hmm.
I just really like your video on it. I think it's great.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Do I do anything else? Probably not. I haven't even checked to see if my beer's still available. It might be. It could be. This is out of stock. Beyond the Binary is gone. If you haven't bought it yet, you fucked it.
You bastards.
So that's never getting brewed again. I'm quite certain. I don't think it did well anywhere. Judging how long it took to sell out, I don't think it did well enough for them to be interested in rebrewing it. So, sorry.
Lol.
We tried.
Right, thanks for joining us. We will see you next time with some episodes that I haven't even checked to see what they are, but I'm sure they'll be good ones.
Capiche?
Bye!
Bye, everybody.
Bleh.